You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it.
Welcome to the weekend. I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute. You're watching Independent Thinking. My congressman, but the future governor of the state of Colorado. Well, you haven't announced that. Jared Polis, thank you for being with us. Good to see you.
Thank you, John. There's a lot of future governors running around this week, a lot more than there were the week before.
So people know we taped this a week before it aired, so we don't even know if Hickenlooper has said yes to jumping in. But let's stop back. You and I have been doing this for a decade now. We've been sparring on talk radio and this program since you started as school board member for the state school board.
That's right. Year 2000.
2000,
where you first came on the show.
Where you spent $1 million to get on a seat where no one else had spent more than 10 grand.
And I won. And we did a lot of great things in education in the 6 years I was on the board, and served as chairman, and we did a lot for charter schools and school choice, and worked with Independence Institute a bit too. You have some great policy work in that area.
And you've actually written a few things for us on those rare occasions. I have this inner hope, this desire that somehow, just as you came out being homosexual, sometime you're going to pop out and go, really, I'm a libertarian, and I just haven't I needed to wait until my parents were ready to accept me. So you let me know when that's going to happen.
I don't know. I don't know if Colorado's tolerant enough yet.
I'll agree with you on that. How are you enjoying it so far?
It's a great job, John. It's just a really exciting time to be in Congress. It's certainly a lot more fun to be in the majority than it would be to be in the minority. We're really writing policy. You don't agree with everything we do, but you get to have an impact on it.
I'll pick on you for that in a minute.
No, you get to have a real impact on it. I mean, it's not the same old boys club it was 30 years ago, where you have to be there for 10 years before you can even open your mouth. You're right in there. You talk. They don't know. You don't always get your way, but you get to be at the table.
Since you're one of the, how to put it politely, you're one of the most rich guys there. I think in a survey you were somewhere like number 6 in the entire Congress. You were in the top 10.
Something like that.
Something like that. So does that give you a little bit more comfort that if you don't need to go over and beg and plead to special interests as much? I mean, you largely self-financed in your race.
I mean, I certainly
you're in a safe district. Does that give you a fair amount of comfort?
I certainly ran on that. I mean, I think that the voters value that I've actually created jobs. It's not something I just talk about. I mean, I've been successful in the private sector. Started 14 companies. I've had failures too. I've had successes. I've been failures. I mean, I have a proven track record of success. It's a certain thought process that I take with me to Congress. I certainly don't need to raise money from the special interests in the same way as some others. And as you know, this is a difference we have. I think campaign finance reform is something we need to maybe we have some agreement in that area. But I think the way we fund campaigns is fundamentally broken. The fact that people have to rely on these same special interests that perpetuate the status quo on both sides of the aisle.
Given what you did before, I mean, after you made your wealth, you had what I would think would be the coolest job in the world. You were basically an angel investor.
Oh, I thought you meant State Board of Education.
Yes, no, I would hate that job. I would hate your current job. But in order, you would spend time evaluating small companies, thinking about what the next big thing was. You did well with Pro Flowers and Frog Magic. You did Blue Mountain Arts Online. That would be fun. Now, you're not doing any of that right now.
No, I had a really good time doing that. We mentored young entrepreneurs. It's a program in Boulder, TechStars, I co-founded a couple years ago. But the reason I got more involved on the public side is the ability to have more of an impact. I really see a lot that's going wrong with our country and the world. And having an impact would have been fun in my own little way, and starting more and advising people. But to really try to change the direction of the country and move the ball forward, I had to play a role at that federal level, and that's why I went to Washington.
Let me ask you about the obvious. Were you surprised by Ritter's decision not to run? I was floored by it. I didn't see it coming, and I'm still suspicious that it's really about his family, but I'll take him on face value. He's a good guy. I disagree with his policies. I was stunned. It was the first time I've seen an incumbent. I think he would have won re-election. I've always said that.
Yeah, none of us saw it coming. I mean, this is not something that anyone in the Democratic establishment had any inkling of. I mean, whether it was the party chair, any of our office holders, we were all surprised. I don't think the governor had made that decision more than a couple weeks before. I think he thought about it over the holidays, and I think, again, whether he's somebody you agree with or disagree with, everybody calls him a man of integrity, which he is, and I take his reason at face value. I mean, he looked down and said, hey, look, there's another year away from my family. The kids are going to be out of two of them are still in high school. They're going to be out of the home soon. Another 4 years. What am I going to do with my life? So, he went a different direction, and I respect him for that. It's tough to run for a statewide office.
I will agree. It's tough to run for statewide office, but it's a whole lot easier when you're an incumbent. He although I don't think he's the best administrator, he's got high popularity. He's got good numbers. My guess is he could have won this race.
Yeah. Again, I don't think he. I don't think he decided not to run because he didn't think he could win. I mean, I think he knew he'd have a tough race, and that's a lot of work for a year away from your family. But again, I take his reason at face value. I think it's funny. People have this kind of love-hate relationship with their politicians, more hate than love. But one thing that I don't know if voters really realize is that politicians, generally speaking, are very hard-working. You know a lot of them too. I mean, the hours are crazy. We're there 2, 3 in the morning in the United States Capitol. I had my first all-nighter, John, since college. We started the committee meeting at 10 in the morning. We went straight through till 6:30 a.m. the next day. And then I had a meeting at 8 a.m. that day. Went home, showered, didn't get to sleep till at 5 p.m. that following day I crashed. So, I mean, and that happened once, but it's very typical for me to be working at 2 or 3 in the morning. What I like to say to people is, it's up to you. I don't know whether we're getting the quality, but we're definitely getting the quantity. We're definitely getting the quantity. Yeah, you're getting the quantity.
Let's talk about the quantity.
Yeah.
A lot of conservatives were really excited when you were part of the Blue Dog Democrats that went up to Obama.
I wasn't a Blue Dog.
Hang on. But that's where they stuck you. And they said,
okay.
Here's a guy who said, we don't want income tax increase to pay for health care.
Very outspoken about that.
Everybody on my team was like, oh my God, he's one of us. And to which I said, no, I've known Jared a long time. He ain't one of us. Yeah. He just doesn't like the tax policy of that. Right. And I think you understand the tax policy. You've got a good friend in Art Laffer. You understand higher marginal income taxes are not going to help us out. It's not that you didn't like or don't like Obamacare, for lack of a better term. You didn't like that particular funding mechanism, which you voted against, and that got changed.
Yeah, one of the, there's all sorts of things in healthcare reform. Some are good, some are bad, some are neutral. One of the things that I thought was most onerous in one of the initial proposals was a major increase in income taxes and the marginal rates. And remember, it's not only individuals that pay those, it's also small businesses, S corps, LLCs, they're taxed as individuals. It would have raised that individual marginal rate to almost 45%. Down from 35% where it is now. So I spoke out against that. We're able to get it moved. It's still in debate a little bit because it's not in the Senate version at all, and we're still in some negotiations, but I'm optimistic that there will either be no or a slight increase in income taxes, hopefully none at all, and we'll be finding that out in the final weeks here.
Let's talk about the House side for a second. The House side was ugly. It was ugly to get this thing passed. I know with the stimulus bill, there was a promise that we'd have at least 72 hours to watch it online. Even the House voted to put it online for 72 hours, and then that went right out the window. I forget on the health care bill how quickly it went through, but really just a handful of votes. How close was it? My speculation is if you needed Betsy Markey's vote, she would have voted your way, but she was given a pass, given the Republican-leaning
well, I think
district.
Betsy Markey has been critical, as have I, of the cost of the plan. We want to make sure that it doesn't contribute to the deficit. We want to make sure we don't raise taxes. Betsy ultimately felt it fell short on that account. I worked. One of the things is to be able to change legislation, John, you have to be at the table to support it. If I say I'm against health care reform, doesn't matter what else I want in it, I'm not going to get it. I have to say I'm willing to support it if, in my case, I wanted to make sure it was better for small businesses and didn't raise income taxes. There were some changes made, and part of that being part of the process is I'm there to support it going forward. It could be a lot better. I mean, again, I think we gave too much to the insurance companies, too much to the pharmaceutical industry. I supported the public option, which would have saved about $100 billion. We need to raise taxes by $100 billion because we're taking out the public option. So there's a lot that I would do differently. But at the end of the day, if we can get there, and I think we got there in the first version, I can support it. And we'll see where Betsy Markey comes down in the final bill.
Both the House and Senate bill have a mandate for everybody needs to get insurance. So in other words, we're turning more into Massachusetts, which has an individual mandate. You must buy insurance. The government comes, puts a gun to your head and says, if you don't buy insurance, we're either going to tax you or we're going to put you into jail.